My name is Rion Naus. I'm a stewardship ambassador. I'm a certified public health educator. I'm a dad, and I own and operate We Grow With LLC. Let me tell you about best intentions. Because if it wasn't for the fact of me doing a few things that are quite difficult, we wouldn't have that conversation. Because when the button was pressed to stop recording, it said starting. So, I have been afforded the opportunity to share more because I am able to share. And it is also getting difficult for those that do to make do too. So, some things that I would like to share connected to the conversation with Jim Ristow from Elevate Ag, who I consider a colleague, a friend, a fellow brother in the Lord, and a son of God. So, for most people, they don't actually know that there's soil health principles too. And they're principles like every other principle, be a financial or family, that those principles are what everything else is built on. And that's when you find yourself going, why is it not working? What puzzle piece is missing? What's misfiring? What fuse? What element? Whatever. Like, to make something that should be a beautiful garden and into some mess of they've did and your Garden of Eden. And it's a lot to do to misunderstandings, because the miss of this situation for some is the lying daughters of Eve, and what that does to a good man and best intentions. And I think that is where our relationship with Mother Nature, with the feminine, with the mom, all the pieces that people with different pieces, or so we've been led to believe, but it has to be the good, very good that everything else is built upon. And so when we talk about products, it's because people have pulled together the resources to make it easier for you. That's why people say time is money, and if you have the time, then you come and spend some money with me, and I'll help you be able to do it all without talking to anybody about products, because it's about what nature can produce. But most people aren't even making sourdough bread. And it's literally called the starter. And then people ask me, where do I start? And they actually get pretty confused, and that's why it's kind of a mess. And so these fungal communities that are the foundation, this interface, this mycelial maze of interconnected networks of like electrical neurons. Yeah. Christine Jones and her community have done an absolutely amazing job in their depiction of the soil microbiome's fungal energy channel. It's amazing. And you can actually see it. with your own eyes using, come on, like some super simple tools. But if they ask me next year where to start, I know they haven't been making bread. It's kind of just how it is. But this is where it's not lost to me. I'm trying to actually share what could have been shared. Books like this, Fungi in Ecosystem Processes, is a book filled with all the different access points of understanding of how this trophic level has it covered. Nature doesn't offer a silver bullet, but it does have a silver lining. And that's because it's divinely designed. The key factors is figuring out the ways and pathways and make it easy for the laborers are few sometimes, people getting it done. And that's where these fungi like to hang out with those fun guys. You know, and heck, this is where they have whole system processes. They do stuff we can't do. That's great. Let them. And then the question then goes, well, how do people get them? Well, they can start with a starter, learn to make bread, understand that common sense may not lead to dollars, but it leads to being healthy, wealthy, and wise. Truly. And there is a whole system, and like there's a lot of people doing things that cause a lot of harm, and there are so many better options. Yeah. And people I've known and worked with and loved for years, there's this aspect of misfiring, misunderstanding, which then creates, well, what did I do? And from an agricultural perspective, you did everything. Like say, people, like this is what these words mean. I know you've heard them your entire life, but I have no clue why you've been using them that whole time if you knew what these words meant. On a health principles, soil health. No. Boom, health. And then when you freaking figure it out, there's a healing process that's part of that. Yep, 100%. Start with a starter. Like if you don't know how cool, there's this thing called YouTube. I don't know if you've heard about it. I have some people in my community that have no technology. They mail me things. It's wonderful. I have other people that expect an answer instantaneously after it left their thumbs. It's a little bit of a pressure, to be honest. I've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Have you started with a starter? Oh, your wife already has? Yeah, excellent. Can you make a dilution of that? What, huh? How do I start? Uh-oh, you already did. This is where that's the misfire. And for me, from an outside perspective, it seems like a toxic component as a legacy of, chemical retardation. And just like a dirt devil moving across whatever acre or ant hill you have, if you're taking out the things that are needed, some people think you're killing it means a good thing. And it makes sense why it gets confusing. I don't know Haven't figured out where that one happened. But there's a lot of stuff that took place for nearly the last 100 years. Man. On a system scale. So, ecosystem functions, right? Ecosystem. That's like, those are the same thing in a weird way. Like, because that part encompasses the reality of its interconnectedness. And that's how we, on our level, interface and then they say, where do we start? If you have ever used anything that ends with a side, at that point you've decided which side you're on. It's all about their modes of action. So that's where, just going back to, the current state is that bad. And it remains that way until we put the missing pieces back. And that's why we remember. So, another really great book for people. This one here is called The Hunter-Gatherer's Guide to the 21st Century. It has opened up several insights to me, and I really appreciate it. I think Heather and Brett have done an amazing job, especially since 2020. Grateful. And they have written a book that gives insights into some of the biohacking that big business, corporation, politics, marketing, like anybody who can kind of use against us. Here's a perfect example. There is a kind of a gas station type treat, candy, mint. See, but that connects to the plant, and that's not how it works. Oh. Man, mint. Anyways, the fact that it comes under the individual or the individual unit lower than the measurable unit, they don't have to claim it. So in fact, it's mostly the thing it's saying it's not to be. And if anything, it is a perfect example of the placebo pill. It's just a little sugar pill. One of the reasons why the fungal communities are so misunderstood is because it's that real. And most people don't have the time. And so they've missed out on the standing required for that principle to be underway. Set sail, start, all of it. So, yeah, at that point, you are what you eat is both part of the solution or the result of the solution that these principles then applied become understanding. And that's why we all learn and grow, and I appreciate people's time to hear me about some books, and honestly, my computer's being held up. This is where my equipment versus the other technology and how it interfaces with the biology. I actually have right here a small bucket, which is actually really cool at a whole bunch of other levels. Like this scale, if you're doing anything already, put this in. If you are still trying to build a system, put a lot of this stuff in. Like this is where, happy to answer any questions. Like this, I was happy to show, happy to teach. If you are putting into the time, then this material integrated into other systems, not just as a seed coat, like come on. It's about dry and liquid applications. What do you do with your dry and liquids? Well, we mix here. Oh, does that benefit your system? Yep. Okay, cool. Then that's the perfect place for it too, in a liquid or a dry. Well, we do use drones, a dry or a liquid. Well, we air seed. Cool. Well, awesome. That would be more like a dry. Here's some application rates, but really it's about the technology. We're trying to reset a system that's missing an entire ecosystem. It is completely possible in short order, but it is a progression. That's why it's progress. Man. We have every aspect of this as a through line. And in some weird ways, even integrating political stuff, which is a strange buffer against people who are really trying to get the good, very good work done. Like, bless Jimmy Emmons' soul. Oh, I go to enough meetings, that poor man. So this is where, by putting back the actual functioning members of that ecosystem, we buffer even our own ecosystems. And the hardest part is sometimes people call that a product. And sometimes it's actually what nature produces. And that's that fun, how long are you going to do this? Well, cool, you can play around with it for the next 60 years. Do something different every year. Sometimes people call those test plots. Awesome. But if you have the right tools, you can actually verify that what you did 10 years ago, you can say hi to the creatures you put back to work for you. And you've met different thresholds, and you nourish it, and you make sure it has everything that it needs. And then it takes care of you, and yields come into alignment, atonement. Then honestly, nature works on our behalf to the point where we're like, oh wow, how do we kill it? And then some people think that's really good. And other people are terrified by it. This is my office. Like this is a different kind of toolbox. Every one of these reference material usually was gifted or earned through some real understanding. Some people even called it dirt time. Grateful for that community. And Yeah. There's some real stuff that's out here. So I just shared 2 books, amazing resources, please. I shared a product that's actually got the right biology going back to the correct purpose and functions. And this is where if you don't understand, then there's education that's an option for you. It's called YouTube. Like, just start looking at some of these conferences, these nexuses, these symposiums, like these options of people for their entire life who have tried to figure out really specific things. That's how nature works. We spend our entire lives and generations trying to ask questions. Some people figure that out when they're 42. And so when we decide which side we're on, we then have an opportunity to interpret books like this. I'm about positive 100% that this was a little treasure found at a garage sale. Passing through and saw a little bookshelf. Some doctor had his reference material and then he died. And then everybody else just divvied it up. This gift I have helped bring to a whole community that has no idea about recognition and management of pesticide poisonings. Because it's so bad that most people go herbicide. And then some people go herbicide. And then some people say they're killing it. And the whole time, the doctor's going, okay, so I need to recognize and manage the fact that pesticides, which include all of these things, it's a giant umbrella term. It's not just for bugs. Like, that's where pest confuses people. This book then allows you to go, hey, I just opened it, right? Anybody here ever use DEET? Heck, I know some moms that rub it all over their kids and high percentage points, maybe sometimes even up to 100%, lathering it on their skin to make sure they don't get poked or prodded by some creature out there. But let's see what it does to the person. DEET. Diethylamide. Oh, loamide. Low. I would like somebody to figure out how to say that with emojis, and that must be why they say it DEET. All right, well, we'll just keep going. This compound is a widely used liquid insect repellent, suitable for application to skin or to fabrics. It comes in wide ranges of concentrations from 5. Then it gives specific brands. I'm not going to say those specific brands. This is the internet. Percent to 100%. Compared to the widespread use of the product, there are relatively few cases of toxicity. Okay, so that means a lot of people use it, but not that many people have a problem with it. Let's find out. However, so, some people who maybe are the most unprecedented, fear-driven sheeple out there, widespread. However, let's see. However, if used improperly, ingested, or very high concentrations, like 100%, ooh, how's this one? This is fucking great. Here we go. It is used on children, especially repeatedly over large skin surfaces. The potential for severe toxicity exists. Okay, cool. Let's just break down that one sentence. Okay, hold on. Wasn't anticipating going into this. If you're into that, let me know. I'm happy to read. This is literally the book the government says, hey people, When you have all these people come into your office, doctor, who, write down all the stuff they do, if they do this stuff, that's it's super safe. Unless you do any of these things, okay? That's literally how people use it. So it's not safe. That shift right there is why, hell, sometimes they make this shit smell like mint. Cool, circle back, right? This is a resource. Everybody should have it and then go, holy crap, I've been lied to and marketed. Right? This is a resource. Elevate Ag, this is where it's like, yes, it's also the company. Yeah, that's why. It's trying to elevate agriculture. Trying to place what is missing because it's understanding that has actually led all of these people who are trying to regenerate things. They don't even know how to define it. Of course they don't know. It's a verb. It's an action. Everybody is on this journey, and they can have drastically different endpoints. But we do know this is all the herbicides, fungicides, nematicides. It leads to shocking amount of suicides. This is what the doctor goes back and reads for 45 minutes and then goes, oh shit, I need to wash my hands. I just touched that. It's a contact. This and other products legitimately fortified with foundational fungi. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, a beautiful, regional, incredibly applicable, it's called Proliferate. It's a great name, but it is a great name for a great seed coat. But if you're in the center part of the country, from the Dakotas down to, and cross borders even, Texas and beyond, these are tools that people can access to do their part in restoring. This is what behooves us. And that's why there's so many cattle and rancher and heck, my community actually has a rodeo on the beach. It's amazing. You want to know the coolest filter about that? You have to walk. And then you are there, and it's amazing. And I have, there's pictures even, it's real. So if you don't know what you're looking at, and some of these creatures, you might have to get other books, like field guides, going, what is that creature that just came up and said hello? What tool can I use to look at it and see that silver lining that truly holds things together and shares the nutrition, shares the needed hydration? Because H2O, that water, right, in this fungal energy channel, it flows. It actually, for some people, it goes into frequencies and charges. Yeah, but it's how it works. And most people don't want to know, but some people understand that it's something that needs to be known. And that's why when you know it, then you have to own it. It changes. It changes meaning. It changes the structure. It changes, that's how it works. Happy to give you every tricks, cover crop seeds, I said we didn't even talk about that. Dude, anytime you do anything in your fields, you're looking for access points. That's why a return on your investment is to grow culture. The benefit to the system is that there's these people out there in this wonderful world that have actually provided tools in this toolbox, this journey of figuring it out and learning. And depending on how much money, time, what interest, right, ability, like that's why this is understood. It's common sense for those that are reasonable because they understand the reason and they are able. Like, that's why it has to be reasonable.
My name is Rion Naus. I'm a stewardship ambassador. I'm a certified public health educator. I'm a dad, and I own and operate We Grow With LLC. We Grow With helps people to differentiate between fertilizer and fertility. We use products and services. We equip people with the observation tools they need, as well as the products that make their jobs easier, allowing them to turn dead dirt into living land at any scale.